Mr. Jadranko Miklec from Croatia. He is Yogacharya, yoga and Ayurvedic therapist, teacher of transcendental meditation and Maharishi's Vedic science. Manoshadi Bhishagacharya, a herbal scientist, president of Institute of Yoga and Ayurveda. He teaches yoga in Europe, America, India and China. He gained knowledge about yoga from Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, A.G. Mohan, direct disciple of Shri T. Krishnacharya, Maharishi Swami Devmurti Yogacharya, Dr. Mukund Bhole. He wrote 6 books about yoga. Also, he has experience with the application of yoga and Ayurveda to sports, tennis, football, driver, judo, volleyball, etc. For teaching yoga, Jadranko is cooperating with Maharishi Academy for Vedashe Vincent Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga, India, Bharatiya Vidyapeeth Deemed University, European Yoga Federation, and World Movement for Yoga and Ayurveda.
Namaste.
Om Shanti, Jadranko ji. Great pleasure to see you.
Yes, dear Amadio ji and Sukadev ji and Vikram ji, thank you very much for inviting me for this beautiful event for the peace, for creation of peace.
It's so wonderful that you're here and to have you speak with your wisdom of so many years of experience of practicing and teaching.
Indeed, Jadrankoji's speeches are really very deep and nobody can listen his speech only once. Person has to listen it again to understand the depths he goes in. Jadrankoji, the topic of your speech today is the role of yoga in cultivating inner peace and spiritual awakening. Over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. And so this topic of this conference is eternal topic, how to achieve peace. And not only on a personal level, but on the global level, because in the history of mankind, we see that there was very short periods of peace. Most of the time, there were all the time some fightings and some wars. So how to achieve the peace? And this is the topic of yoga. As one ancient science, we cannot trace the time from where it started. It's very ancient and it's all the time here. And many masters were speaking the same message. And also, we can find that message in the teaching of Yoga Sutras of Maharishi Patanjali, where he says that the yoga as a method aim is to silence the activity of the field of individual consciousness. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. It means that the chitta, the field of individual consciousness, with all its instruments through which consciousness is gaining experiences, the senses, the mind, the ego, and everything. So that all fields should become silent. That's why I would like to introduce that creation of inner silence is a prerequisite for spiritual awakening. And only spiritual awakening can bring the peace to the individuality, to the person, or to the society. So in that sense, that silence is needed, and yoga gives very practical methods how to achieve that silencing or transcending process of all activities in your consciousness. Why? Because now in our life, we are experiencing the different things in the life, and who is experiencing I? We say, I am thinking, I have my thoughts, my feelings, this kind of feelings, and my perception, and even relating everything to that I. But in the teaching of yoga, that I, which we are living after we are born on this planet Earth, we forget our true I when we are born, and then we are just in that ignorance, which yoga says avidya. avidya means the ignorance about our true reality. And what we are living is wrong identity. And then from that avidya comes asmita, which is Patanjali mentioning as obstacle for a normal way of life and for peace. And that asmita means he defines when the seer, it means the subject, becomes identified with the process of seeing, then the asmita is created. So asmita is not the reality of life. The reality of life of our individual identity is ahamkara, as mentioned in the Sankhya sutras, in the teaching of the Maharishi Kapila. There he describes certain instruments of our individual life, and one instrument, the basic, is that ahamkara, or I am. But through that identification, that I am becomes I am that, and I am that, and then that I becomes covered with the content which it is perceiving, and losing insight into its true identity. So that asmita becomes the subject, which is experiencing everything, and then the other things are the objects. Now yoga says we need to stop all the objects related to the asmita, or that ego, which is perceiving everything and being involved in life as a chief subject. And then we need to stop all the activities, nirodha, and then reach the state in which that asmita will remain alone, not related to any more activity. It means the inner silence, complete inner silence. So this is the process which is called nirodha in the yoga, or the Patanjali is mentioning that state asmita samadhi, where the asmita or the ego is not related, not even to the experiencing ananda. It's beyond ananda samadhi, or related to any finer level of the experience related to the tanmatras, or the grosser level of experience is related to mahabhutas. So beyond vitarka vichara, ananda samadhi, reaching the asmita samadhi where the ego remains alone. Now what happens? This is called Maharishi Mahesh Yogi related this to the Vedic experience of the rishis, and he says this is the dirgha tamas state, prolonged darkness, nothingness. It's empty. It's beyond any. It's a total silence. And then what happens? That asmita, which was previously the subject in relation to some objects, now there are no more objects. Then the asmita becomes the object. And there is someone behind who is now aware of that I, that asmita, and that which is behind is my true I. And then this mirage of wrong identity is gone. And then there is opening to my real identity, to that self. And this is tada drashtuh. Only when all activities subside in our consciousness, when we reach that asmita samadhi, that state where there is all vrittis stopped, then tada drashtuh, then the real seer, swarupa avasthanam, becomes realizing its true identity. It's not anymore in the wrong identity. The asmita is lost, and it is actually coming back to the natural state of ahamkara, which realizes that it is reflection of our self, true self, or Atman. It's an individual expression of the Atman. So in that sense, this is that inner spiritual awakening. And we can say this is the concept of being reborn. Being reborn means coming back to the life, coming back to realize your true self, to your true soul. Now you are 100% your soul, and you realize the nature of your soul, which is Satchit Ananda, which is within itself containing all the principles which are expressed as the principles of Yama and Niyama, and all the Sanatana Dharma is instantaneously awakened within you. And this gives you the feeling of complete inner peace, and through that realization, through that spiritual awakening. And then this inner peace, it's radiating to the surrounding because we are part of the cosmic mind, of the manas, of the collective mind. So whatever we realize, spiritual awakening within us is one, we can say, lamp lit in the darkness of the cosmic mind. We're bringing more light and more that quality and neutralizing all these negativities in the collective consciousness and contributing to the peace, first of the family and then the society and the whole world. So otherwise, and there is no other way, so we need to go beyond, we need to transcend, we need to come to the inner silence. And there, that self-realization as the only spiritual experience in a real sense can happen. And on that basis, then that inner peace is established with all its qualities. Otherwise, as we know, the asmita becomes the source of the raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, and everything, all the kleshas, all the 5 kleshas, you know, they are going on and catching us in this vicious circle, and we can never find the peace when we are under the grip of all those kleshas. For example, the raga means desire. When the ego will be, we are searching for happiness and for the peace, but only if you fulfill desire, then you can feel some temporary peace. But it's not enough. It's not. It will not last long. Then again, unrest, because it's a mistake. Asmita is not true identity, and it can never be happy with whatever it is gaining. It will always be unhappy because it's not the true self. It's not our true reality. And the fake identity, you can never satisfy. That's why there is never-ending story of the desires and thinking that we will gain some peace by achieving this. And then if you don't achieve, then you become angry, and then you develop dvesha, repulsion to the objects of desire, and hatred to the object of desire, and then the violence, and then the fear of existing and everything, and the stress comes. Abhinivesha is the basis of all psychosomatic diseases, because the fear for existence activates autonomous nervous system to react with the fight and flight reaction, which creates all the health problems and psychosomatic diseases. And there is no peace, no health, nothing. So especially when those kleshas come to the udara state. Udara means very strongly expressed in our life, and our wrong identity very strongly expressed. That ego becomes strong egoism, mada. So in the udara state, the asmita becomes mada, and then jealousy, matsalya, moha, illusion, anger, krodha, and there are 6. They mentioned the 6 big enemies, which are born within our consciousness and bringing us to the disaster and no peace in our life. And then those enemies, inner enemies, we are projecting to the others. And we create enemies around us, and we start fighting, and we start wars. There is no peace anywhere until we remove those enemies. Once Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, when he was creating these big groups of the yogis to practice this creation of some positive influence in collective consciousness, then he said, we don't need to kill the enemy. We need to kill the enemy in the enemy. And this is the enemy in the enemy is those inner enemies. So how we remove them? By reducing those kleshas, by transcending, by going to the self-realization. Then we can, in a very concrete and real way, contribute to the world peace. Otherwise, if we don't have peace within us, if we don't have inner silence, then and inner awakening doesn't happen, then we are of no use for the world, whatever we can do in the world. So this is the most important task for every human being, to search deep in itself, to come back to itself, to be reborn, come to your true identity, get inner spiritual awakening, and live that in your life, then you will have peace and you will contribute to the world peace. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, respected Jadranko ji. And you went deep into yoga philosophy. You mentioned avidya, smita, and asmita samadhi, and you also mentioned dirgha tamas, and how when we are established in our swarupa, then we reach to right peace. Otherwise, abhinivesha asmita leads to shat ripus, which takes away all the peace from the planet. Thank you very much. May I request you to be
Yes.
there online
Just,
for some time so that we can. Yes.
Yes. After Dirgha Tamas, spiritual awakening is called Madhu Chandas. And this is what the Rishi Madhu Chandas described at the beginning of the Rig Veda of his experience of awakening and transmitting us the reality of life.
Thank you. Thank you very much. May you stay back here so that we can welcome our next guest, Andreji, with respected Swamiji also. So after this digital introduction, we'll welcome respected Andreji along with Swamiji. So you can stay back office for some time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On behalf of United Consciousness, I thank Mr. Jadranko Miklec for coming onto the platform of United Consciousness. Thank you so much.